Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Naranam Namaskritya Naram Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayantirye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 1, the Supreme Lord is equal to every. Text number 27 onwards. Yatha vairānubandhena marsyas tanmayatamiya na tatha bhakti yogena iti me nishita mati. So in the previous verse it was said, therefore by enmity or by devotion service, by fear, by affection or by lusty desire, by all of these or any one of them, if a conditioned soul somehow or other concentrates his mind upon the Lord, the result is the same. So the Lord, because of his blissful position, is never affected by enmity or friendship. So he is equal to everyone and he always has a spiritual position. But as Prabhupada said in the purport, that one should not give up pure devotion service. Pure devotion service means to serve Krishna favorably, not unfavorably, not in an inimical way or enviously. So in this shloka, Narad Muni is further speaking. So Narad Muni is speaking to Maharaj Yudhishthira. So he is saying, by devotional service, one cannot achieve such intense absorption in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one can through enmity towards him. That is my opinion. So, well, that is actually his humility. He's saying that. He's saying, if somebody is my enemy, and it is for a materially conditioned soul, it is natural. If somebody is my enemy, I'll think of him 24 hours a day, actually. In a wrong way, but I'll think of him 24 hours. Because there is a feeling of taking revenge, there's a feeling of fear or anger towards that person. So these material emotions are so strong within us that we think of taking revenge or we think of doing some harm to that person. And in fact, in the process, we do harm to ourselves. That's a different story. But we can think of that person 24 hours actually. And Narad Muni is saying one cannot achieve the same intense absorption in thought of Supreme Personality of Godhead as one can through enmity towards him. And in fact, for us, all the neophyte devotees, we really have to sit down and concentrate on him. Like when we have to sit down and chant, even the chanting time, mind goes here and there all the time. But at the same time, if we have to take revenge or we are angry at somebody, mind immediately goes towards that person. Immediately, without even our doing any effort. So let's see what Prabhupada says. Shriman Narad Muni, the topmost pure devotee, praises Krishna's enemies like Shishupal because their minds are always completely absorbed in Krishna. Indeed, he thinks himself deficient in the inspiration of being feelingly absorbed in Krishna consciousness. This does not mean, however, that the enemies of Krishna are more elevated than Krishna's pure devotees. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also thinks of himself in such a humble way. Well, this is also the humility of pure devotees like that. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami has written, Jagai madhai haite muite papisht, Purishera kita haite muite lagisht. I am a worse sinner than Jagai and Madhai, and I am even lower than the worms in the stew. And that's his realization. He's not just writing it, taking a poetic license and trying to show us that how humble he is. No, that's his realization. A pure devotee always thinks himself more deficient than everyone else. If a devotee approaches Srimati Radharani to offer some service to Krishna, even Srimati Radharani thinks that the devotee is greater than she. Wow. That is an anomaly of devotion service. Nobody thinks he or she is greater. And if somebody thinks he or she is better or greater than the other devotee, that means he hasn't made any progress at all. In the material world, everybody is trying to be better than everybody else. This is how we gain status in the society. This is how we make money. This is how we become more powerful, so that we can control everybody, and everybody should sing my name, and I should get all the awards, and everything I should be controlling. Devotional service is exactly the opposite. Srimati Radharani, nobody better than her. Nobody. Even Krishna serves her. And she thinks if some devotee, Prabhupada, a devotee approaches Srimati Radharani to offer some service to Krishna, even Srimati Radharani thinks that the devotee is greater than she. Wow. And genuinely she thinks. It's not that she's also trying to just encourage us or motivate the devotee. No. No, not at all. Now that is that is really difficult actually for us to think that way. But this is how advanced, more advanced, most advanced spiritual people think. Thus, Narad Muni says that according to his opinion, the enemies of Krishna are better situated because they are fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna in terms of killing him. Just as a very lusty man always thinks of women and their association. See, that is why Prabhupada's purports are very important. Otherwise, if we had just read this translation just like that, we would have thought, hey, Narada is thinking this way. Oh, we should also become enemies of Krishna. No, Prabhupada is clarifying. This is a humility of Narada. He's in a way, he's appreciating that these enemies are fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. But of course, he's not appreciating the mood of thinking in killing Krishna, but the absorption they have, that is amazing. The essential point in this connection is that one should be fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna 24 hours a day. There are many devotees in Raga Marga which is exhibited in Vrindavan. Whether in Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, or Madhuryaras, all the devotees of Krishna are always overwhelmed by thoughts of Krishna. When Krishna is away from Vrindavan, tending the cows in the forest, the gopis in the Madhurya Ras are always absorbed in thoughts of how Krishna walks in the forest. The soles of his feet are so soft that the gopis would not dare keep his lotus feet on their soft breasts. Indeed, they consider their breasts a very hard place for the lotus feet of Krishna. Yet, those lotus feet wander in the forest, which is full of thorny plants. The gopis are absorbed in such thoughts that although Krishna is away from them. Similarly, when Krishna plays with his young friends, Mother Yashoda is very much disturbed by thoughts that Krishna, because of always playing and not taking his food properly, must be getting weak. These are examples of the exalted ecstasy felt in Krishna's service as manifested in Vrindavan. This service is indirectly praised by Narad Muni in this verse. Especially for the conditioned soul, Narad Muni recommends that one somehow or other be absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, for that will save one from all the dangers of material existence. Full absorption in thought of Krishna is the highest platform of Bhakti Yoga. Now, this absorption in thought of Krishna, that could also be in the thoughts of his name, thinking of his name or chanting his name, or in the thoughts of his service, thoughts of his rupa, thoughts of his pastimes. Even if we are thinking of serving Krishna, or whatever service I have, and how I can improve that service, or how I can perform that service, how I can offer the results of that service, how I can do my service in a better way. That is all linked with Krishna. That is why service is very, very important, because in the beginning stages we cannot think of Krishna, his rupa or his name. We are just so conditioned. So with the same material senses that we have, Prabhupada's mercy, we got the service. We can serve Krishna. So the service of Krishna is not different from Krishna. But the mood of Prabhupada saying, mood of the gopis and Yashoda Maya, it's just amazing. And when we read about them in different books, it just feels like it's how we are ever going to reach that place. How gopis are thinking that Krishna, because Krishna doesn't go in the forest with the cows with the shoes on. He always goes bare feet everywhere. There's a beautiful pastime on Gopashtami Day. When Krishna and Balram, they were old enough, they said, okay, now we're going to take the cows instead of calves into the forest for grazing. So Yashoda Maya first said, no, you are too little to take the cows. Calves are okay. Calves are okay. But no, Krishna Balram said, no, Maya, we are old enough. The point behind their request was actually the calves, they would take only at the outskirts of the forest, because they cannot take the calves inside. But with the cows, they could go inside the forest. Okay, they could go further away from Nandagaon. So the point is, they wanted to meet. Krishna wanted to meet the gopis, and also in the daytime they can play with their cowherd boyfriends, and also to kill the demons who would come, because demons had been cursed to stay away from Nandagaon. They could not come to Nandagaon. So Krishna and Balram, they wanted to go deep inside the forest. So demons could come there and they could kill the demons. But of course, main reason was for Krishna to meet the gopis, and they could not come to the outskirts of forest near Nandagaon. So Krishna wanted to take the cows, 900,000 cows Nanda Baba has. So Mother Yashoda came, oh Lala, how are you going to take all these cows? And of course, Yashoda Maya is the supreme mother. The kind of Vatsalya she has, nobody else has. So she said, Lala, so you're going to go and you're not even wearing shoes, and let me get you some shoes and an umbrella. Then Krishna said, no, Maya. See, we are Gopal. It means we are servants of the cows. So if my master is not wearing shoes, if my masters are not having an umbrella, and they cannot carry an umbrella, so you have to give me a servant for every cow to carry the umbrella. And then I will accept the shoes and the umbrella. And then Yashoda Maya said, no, it's not practical. I mean, 900,000 cows and 4 hooves, every cow. So that many shoes, and not just ordinary shoes with some studded diamonds, because she's not an ordinary gopi. And then an assistant to carry the umbrella. That's just not possible. But this was a condition of Krishna, and then that's how he just went without the umbrella and the shoes. So this is what the gopis are thinking, that how Krishna walks in the forest without the shoes, with all the thorns and with all the pebbles and the rocks over there, and his lotus feet are so soft. So this is how they are meditating on Krishna. Of course, the same lotus feet of Krishna. Same lotus feet. When Krishna was dancing on the hoods of Kalia, and Kalia was thinking, these feet are just like thunderbolts crashing on my head. And Krishna was dancing on the hoods of Kalia. And so much of crashing of thunderbolt that first the poison came out from the hoods of Kalia, and then the blood came out, and then he finally surrendered. And same lotus feet, the gopis are thinking, oh, we cannot even put these lotus feet on our breast because our breasts are so hard and his feet are so soft. So it just depends upon our consciousness, on our mood of a relationship with Krishna, on our devotional service. So it depends how we relate ourselves with Krishna. So same lotus feet. And actually, when Krishna goes to the forest and goes on Govardhan with bare feet, so first the Braj Raj, and the cows are walking in front of Krishna. So what the cows do with their hooves, they make all the small pebbles or stones, they just crush them and make them smooth and soft ground for Krishna to walk on. Because cows are in the front and Krishna is behind them. And also when Krishna goes on the Govardhan hill, there are big rocks. So all those rocks, because everything is conscious in Vrindavan. So all those rocks, they become soft, very soft, like freshly churned butter. For Krishna to step on them. Krishna and Krishna's cowherd boyfriends and the gopis and Srimati Radharani. So they become soft like freshly churned butter, not even butter that is churned and kept for a while, because they think even that is hard. Krishna wants his lotus feet are so soft, so the rocks become that soft. So this is the mood of everybody in Vrindavan, to give pleasure to Krishna. And more pleasure they want to give is nobody. Of course, the cows are in the front and Krishna is walking behind them. But when they're coming back in the evening, cows are walking on the road. But even 900,000 cows, that is the cows of Krishna's, and Gopas have their own cows, other Gopas. None of the cows and none of the Gopas ever step on the footmarks or footprints of Krishna. They want to keep those footprints so that they can always look at them and think of Krishna. This is their mood. And in fact, the trees, when they see Krishna and Balaram, they themselves bend down. The branches, they bend down so that Gopas, all the friends, they can pluck the flowers and the fruits and enjoy. They don't want Krishna, Balaram, and the Gopas to climb on the trees and have some tough time. No, they themselves bend down. This is Vrindavan, actually. So this is what Narad Muni is saying. He's recommending that one somehow or other be absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. For that will save one from the dangers of material existence. Text 28-29. Kita peshas krita ruddha kudyayam tamanusmaram samrambhaya yogena vindate tat swarupatam. Evam Krishne Bhagavati Maya Manujvishware Varena Puta Papmanas Tamapur Anuchintaya. A grass worm confined in a hole of a wall by a bee always thinks of the bee in fear and enmity, and later becomes a bee simply because of such remembrance. Similarly, if the conditioned soul somehow or other think of Krishna, who is Satchidananda Vigraha, they will become free from their sins. Whether thinking of him as the worshipable Lord or an enemy, because of constantly thinking of him, they will regain their spiritual bodies. No, not this. I mean, the shlokas I think we'll cover tomorrow. There's still only 2 minutes left, 2 or 3 minutes. I just wanted to come to another thing, pastime of a devotee absorbed in thought of Krishna. This happened during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. Mahaprabhu, when he came from Jagannath Puri to Navadvip, and his plan was to go from Navadvip to Vrindavan. So Mahaprabhu was in Navadvip and he went to Ramkeli, where he met Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. And from Ramkeli, along with thousands of devotees, he started going to Vrindavan. So there was a brahmachari named Narsinganand Brahmachari. He could not go with Mahaprabhu, but he just sat down and he just absorbed himself in the thoughts of Mahaprabhu, traveling on the road from Ramkeli to Vrindavan. And Mahaprabhu is walking. He is on his way with his devotees. And he, Narsinganand Brahmachari, in his thoughts, in his hut or in his ashram, wherever he was. He's just thinking of Mahaprabhu walking, and he was thinking that it is the road is not very good, and he was laying down the gold and the jewels, very, very expensive jewels on the road in his mind. And he was making planting trees on the side of the road so the road does not get very hot. And he was laying down all those jewels, but making sure the jewels don't get hot because of the sun rays. And he was making some lakes on the side of the road in his thought, in his mind, so that Mahaprabhu walks. If somebody gets thirsty, they can go and drink water. And then he was making so many things on the road, so the Mahaprabhu could walk. And then there's a place called Kanai Nachala. Somehow we haven't been able to go there yet. Maybe next trip to Mayapur. So when he's making the road in his mind, and he came to Kanai Nachala, and his thought broke. I mean, he could not meditate any longer. He tried very hard to meditate again, but he could not. So then actually what happened, Mahaprabhu came to this place of Kanai Nachala with the devotees, and he decided not to go further. He came back to Jagannath Puri from there. It's not that because Nrsimhanand couldn't make the road further, so he could not go, but he just decided. So Nrsimhanand was thinking maybe Mahaprabhu is not going to go further than Kanai Nachala, he's going to go back. So there is so much of relationship, correlation between a devotee's thought and what the Lord is doing, and actually it manifests, it happens. So we should always be thinking of Krishna. We should at least try to fill our mind, fill our free time with the thoughts, with the reading of Krishna, with the pictures of Krishna, Radharani, or with the holy name of Krishna, so that we can always think of Krishna. And that's why the topmost instruction that Rupa Goswami has given for us is always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And that's it. This is the essence of all the Vedic literature. And of course, always think of Krishna favorably. That's all our mood should be. So anyway, I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, so we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.